Hello and welcome to Animated Anarchy, the podcast where we take a critical look at animated features, whether they be bad or good, and we decide by the end if they are that. I am Andrew Dickman.
And I'm Mike Ruocco.
And welcome. We are here in the show.
Yay, this is our fifth show?
Fifth episode.
Wow.
We've reached the 5th episode marker.
I'm touched.
This is a milestone.
We made it this far,
This is a milestone
guys.
for me, actually. I would say, if like for anything that I make. I mean,
I've never done even one of anything.
well, but it's great that we're here because it is boiling hot this
my
weekend.
God. It's about 102 outside.
And it's amazing how this movie kind of like, it makes you feel hotter. The one that we're going to talk about. Yes. And we got together and we're talking about Osmosis Jones, the Warner Brothers classic. Should we say classic?
It's not really classic yet.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a film that was made back then.
It is a
It is
14-year-old movie at this point.
Yeah, it is like 2001. So,
Yeah.
Let's see. Osmosis Jones, a policeman white blood cell with the help of a cold pill must stop a deadly virus from destroying the human they live in, Frank. And what did you think?
I liked it. I think
And this is we should probably say that this is probably another movie that has gotten a lot of flack.
yeah. I mean it's not perfect.
No.
But the thing about it is that we watched the movie before doing this, and I forgot how many just really good. I mean, usually like with puns bug.
We're gonna go right into the puns, right?
They are the highest and lowest forms of comedy. But in this movie, I mean, there's times where they make puns, and you're like, oh. But then there's great stuff in the background where you're like, oh, that's a great joke.
Yeah.
And they really thought about that, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of background stuff.
Yeah.
We had to pause a couple times because we just wanted to read all of the stuff that was in the background, because the more we watched it, the more we noticed these things. And it was hilarious. I mean, we were still paying attention to the story, but it's like we had to keep going back and seeing like, okay, what other thing that they made about the body that is hilarious, and like I don't know, it really worked.
Really good play on words.
Yeah, it was
really good referential.
Very, very good. I wish I wrote down most of them. Because like, if you really decide to watch this movie, you really need to just like pause scenes, because there's some really hilarious. Okay, some things off the top of my head, but we'll get into it.
The top of your hand has your fingers on it.
Yeah.
On the top part that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I can't write good material like you do in this movie.
Yeah. So let's begin and discuss what we thought of the plot of Osmosis Jones. It starts off. Okay. Again, we're gonna discuss the incredible logo. Artwork.
Oh, lovely logo. Instead of a branding, it is now a beautiful amoeba.
Yeah. And it's we looked at the credits, and I'm very certain that Michael Gagne. He's okay. This is the animator who is well known for
he does a lot of great special
effects, and he's known for Insanely Twisted Rabbits, Insanely Twisted Planet.
Yeah.
And there was a short, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was about like two little aliens that were like fighting.
Yes.
Both together, and they were clashing.
It was called...
Yeah, but no, it was really great seeing like all these little cells around the logo. It's just, it was really inviting and telling you like, oh, this is what you're going to get into, you know? It's, so, again, we're talking about logos. I don't know why we obsess about this stuff, but we're not going to take too much longer to it, because it is immediately destroyed by live-action footage of Bill Murray and what's the name of Alina Franklin? Who I don't know what else she's been in.
I don't know. I haven't looked it up.
But yeah.
Oh, by the way, the thing that he did was Prelude to Eden.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what it was
called. The two little things fighting.
That's what it was called. So yeah. So we're pitted into this live action scene that basically sets up the main characters that we're going to be. I guess the whole world is surrounded in this character by Bill Murray, plays Frank, and
Yeah.
he is a zoo tenant.
He is like a zookeeper type.
A zoo janitor, I would say. I don't
'Cause
even think
he
he's
doesn't do really.
No,
he just shovels poo and cleans cages
and looks at monkeys that like they just stick their finger right up their ass in the film, and
That's a weird visual right at the beginning of the movie.
It's not a great start
Of
to
all
the
the
movie.
takes they could take, they took like, oh, we have like 45 minutes of monkey footage.
Yeah, it's like I get it. Okay, we're trying to
Show how dirty monkeys.
we're the dirty monkeys. Like, we're trying to portray Frank as this disgusting human being who is, visually he is gross.
I mean, Bill Murray himself looks pretty
haggard.
I mean, he looks haggard in almost everything he does.
Well, I mean, as particularly here, but I think the movie calls for it.
Yeah, here it calls for it. But lately, if you look at him now, he's very haggard looking.
I mean, he's
But in this
aged.
movie, he looks like
Everyone
he's always
ages.
caked in sweat. He looks like he hasn't showered.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you look at the credits
Eats
and it's
disgusting
it's like
things.
makeup for Bill Murray. It's like, or lack thereof. There's nothing that's making him look
Yeah,
any
they might
better.
as well just have kept him the way he is. Like, did you just get up? Okay, let's film this scene.
Mush your hair up a little bit more. Smudge this crap on your face.
Yeah. So, okay, Frank, played by Bill Murray, is with his daughter, and they're basically discussing things. Like, we're setting up the fact that Frank is a disgusting human being.
Who is a widow.
Okay, yeah, immediately they get into the fact that he's a widow. It's like, when your poor mother died.
God rest her soul.
God rest her... Oh, yeah, they said it that way. It's like, when your mother, God rest her soul. And then they just went on.
But by doing that, they established that Frank is, one, a slob.
Right.
Two, that he has a very responsible daughter that he doesn't listen to.
Yeah.
Or doesn't understand.
The daughter is very responsible.
Right.
She wants to see him eat healthy.
And she has a fight. And then Bill Murray fights with a monkey, a chimp. Sorry, monkeys have tails, chimps don't.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I used to have a teacher in school that says, "Chimps are not monkeys. Chimps don't have tails." And she would hammer it in. And some guy wrote it on a paper once, and she wanted to smack him in the face.
Wow, that's pretty strict. It's like, chimps are not monkeys.
But he fights with this chimp over a
egg that he
hard-boiled
has
egg.
been salting for like the first 5 minutes that they've been talking.
He coats it in mayonnaise and then covers it in about a half a thing of salt.
Yeah.
And
like
then
every scene he says does not stop.
Yeah.
Like, and that hammers in the fact that it's like, okay, he doesn't eat healthy.
First of all, it's unhealthy and it's disgusting to begin with, and then the monkey eats it.
Then the monkey takes it, puts it in its mouth, and he fights with the monkey.
He chokes the monkey.
For the oh no. Oh, anyway, but yeah, he basically throttles the monkey into submission.
In the first 2 minutes of the movie, you have Bill Murray throttling a chimp through iron bars.
No! Anyway, the monkey spits out an egg.
Lands on the dirty ground.
Lands on the ground, and it's like in slow motion. It's basically to portray that, okay, there's filth on the ground.
That is a dirty egg.
And then he promptly puts it in his mouth. Like 5-second rule. Like, I mean, that's a funny joke. 5-second rule. Okay, he puts it in his mouth. And then we are greeted to a zoom in of
his disgusting
Bill
mouth.
Murray's disgusting mouth, chewing on this egg. And as disgusting as it is, this is where the movie picks up.
Right. Well, we're going to say it throughout this whole thing, but the animation,
yes,
and the animated sequences in the movie, even down to even the writing, is leaps and bounds better than anything done in the live action.
We need to get this out of the way right now because I feel like it's really important to our entire discussion is that I feel the live action portions have been written by a completely different team as compared to the animated segments, which there are puns in the live action scenes when we're in the human world, and we're greeted to some really like
severe groaners.
Yeah, these are puns that fall flat. And it doesn't have like the same effect. And I don't know if that's the fault of the actors. I don't have like the way they say their lines or something. But it doesn't feel that way when we're greeted to the inside, which is the cell world. And they make puns and they just fly by. You'll catch some, you'll miss some, but it's all in all, it fits.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
And also, I mean, I think part of it is also that the puns that are visual gags, I assume and I think highly that just the animators and the artists and the layout people and all that stuff put those things in.
Just having fun.
So, like, one of the greatest things right at the beginning of the movie is that you go in and you go inside this body, and the mayor, who's played by William Shatner, is this crooked, very lazy, very, slovenly mayor.
Yeah.
And
he's basically the reason why Frank is the way he is. It's because he's a lazy mayor that just wants to appease, like, the people who just want, like, fat and disgusting
very,
foods.
very, very...
And he doesn't really think about the repercussions of that. He just, like, it's basically pleasure before... whatever.
Overall health.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't think about that. But you go inside the brain, which is where the mayor is. It's like City Hall is like the brain.
Yeah.
And there's a
Cerebellum
great...
Hall.
Cerebellum Hall. And then there's a great gag of a statue of our founder, and it's just a single sperm. Stuff like that. And you know that, like, we saw that. That was one of the first visual gags.
You pointed that out to me, and I didn't notice it at first, but then when you said that,
right
I was like,
right in the middle
that's
of the
hilarious.
screen.
Because I'm like, well, the thing is, I know it's right in the middle of the scene, but I was, like, following the animation because we're following the mayor with this newscast, or reporters who are basically asking him questions. And while they're talking, it's just, like, it's funny what the things they say. It's like, we're working on developing a third chin.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's pretty funny. I mean, it's like, because it's like, it's thoughtful humor to the fact that, we're in a body. Let's try to make as many different references to things that happen inside you and fit it to, like, this, I would say, like, a dirty urban city.
Yeah.
And that's really clever. There's a lot of clever stuff in this.
And the fact that the design of the city, the design of the roads, the design of everything feels, in a way, it's fantastic, but it's organic.
Yeah.
And that helps, like, the fact that the city wraps completely around, it's like it goes even on the ceiling. There's no sense of gravity or anything.
Yeah.
I love just the sense of design and how they incorporate all, like, the body stuff into the architecture and everything of the
and it's we'll get to this at for a moment. Where we start off, okay, so we're inside the mouth now, and it's basically like the border.
It's the border.
It's the
border patrol.
The border patrol, who are the white blood cells, are the police. And one of the police cells, the white cells, is Chris Rock, who is our main character, Osmosis Jones. And he introduces himself very, it's just kind of like to the audience more, not so much to anyone else. He's just basically saying, it's like, you see this badge? You see this gun? You're talking to a white blood cell here. And it's like, that's...
really selling it to the audience.
I mean, that's selling it to the audience. But it's like, that's... First thing in my mind is like, first off, I like Chris Rock in this movie.
Yeah, he's great in that.
He's really good. He's really good at playing a cop. And the fact that the cops are the white blood cells, which are like
they're the protectors of the body.
The protectors of the body. That is a good idea.
Yeah.
That is like, I don't know. I have never really heard... I mean, like, I've seen probably cartoons before where it's like, they talk about the body and everything, but they don't really explain things. Well, they explain things very, like, naturally. It's like, this is the white blood cell. It helps you, and there really isn't anything else to that. But to make that into its own persona is really just clever. It's really well done, and it's thoughtful as well, because... I almost want to say, like, maybe it's a little bit politically incorrect because of the fact that, the germs are the germs.
It is a little... it's a different time period. It feels...
Well, it's like they treat the germs as, like, illegal viruses, and they're crossing the border, and here's the Border Patrol trying to, like, use spit guns.
And they all have Hispanic accents.
They do. Well, not all of them.
Well, some of them do.
Some of them do. Some of the main
the ones in the beginning in the mouth... are all Hispanic, and then they have other germ immigrants.
They have different... It's really honestly, I would think it's more. I know it's politically incorrect, but it's also very observational to
Yeah.
like an urban setting, like an urban city. I mean, let's be honest. So there's stuff like that happens, and I think that's like really, it's fitting in a way. You know, it's just like. It's very funny, very clever, and just I don't know. I just love that aspect of it. So and well, okay. So he's basically trying to protect the mouth from these germs that have just busted in, and they stole I guess a saliva truck or something, or like a police car.
Yeah.
And they're racing off and into the mouth, and that's basically where the main city is. And it's like viruses just bust loose and come in, and now he's chasing it. And since he's very independent and everything, he wants to do everything on his own, and he tries to chase it on himself. And so we're following him, and it's like a really funny like chase scene, which also introduces our venture inside the body.
Yeah.
As like just as a city itself.
Well, yeah, you're in the middle of a chase, and then as you're going through this chase, you're discovering what is going on.
Yeah,
like
and
what this body looks like.
and there's even like little funny things, bits and stuff happening around. Like there's like graffiti on the wall that says like pus and and
turds,
the pimples.
I love just the big. It's someone had to design a graffiti that just says in beautiful graffiti letters, just turds.
Yeah.
In big letters.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Osmosis Jones chases after him, and trying to get the last guy, accidentally shoots off his gun and hits a nerve.
Yes, which is a power line, like a power tower, like an
electrical tower.
Yes, an electrical tower, and he shoots that off, and it hits the nerve, and well, we cut back outside, and we see that Bill Murray stops because he gets like a cramp.
He gets like a Charlie horse in his leg.
So, and that's pretty funny. It's like that's what the nerve is, and that's what happens when he hits the nerve.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
Yeah, and it's pretty imaginative, and but as this is going on, because he eats this disgusting egg. There's a like a cleanup crew.
Yeah, saliva boat,
and they're cleaning up all this egg, and out of this egg comes who is our central villain in the movie,
Thrax, who is played by Lawrence Fishburne, and he is amazing in this movie.
He's a great villain.
He is like an amazing villain. What other movies has he been in? I'll look this up. But you tell me.
But I can't remember for the life of me. I mean, you have to look it up.
No. You tell me. Well, yeah.
Oh, so there's this, and it's really dark.
It is.
It's this. So these two guys are like these two. They work like on this barge, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta clean up all this crap." And then you have a really,
oh my God, he's He's from the Matrix. He's
what's his name? Neo?
No, not Neo.
I don't know. I've never seen the Matrix. So.
No, he's Morpheus.
Oh, he's Morpheus.
Morpheus. And Lawrence Fishburne is like, I mean, his voice coming out of this character is just really menacing.
Yeah.
And he's really designed very well.
Menacingly. He's
very menacing. He's like out of like from like a cop movie, just like this very sophisticated but menacing like robber or something, like just a criminal, like they treat this character like he's a criminal.
But he's a smooth
talking, criminal. Yeah, smooth criminal. Let's just say that.
He's in control, and he's very confident in himself.
But yeah, like you were saying, like there's a very, very disturbing death scene in the beginning where he
kills a dude.
Yeah.
With I guess he has a power where if he pricks somebody, it infects them.
Yeah.
And like the guy's eyes start to pus over and
he just
blow
like
up.
You see this character just start to boil and like scream.
It looks really painful.
It is. It's very disturbing.
Whoever animated that scene, great job. Because he probably had a really fun day. Saying, I gotta have someone die.
Yes, I get to animate a death scene.
There's some crazy death scenes. There's some crazy ones in the movie.
There is, but it's like it can pass as a as a cartoon.
Well, yeah, because they treat it because usually, I mean, not with that guy on the boat. I mean, he just dies and blows up.
Yeah, he's like very like.
But there's scenes
painful.
later where like a character gets
just
shot or splatted, and then you even see that they're still talking, kind of like in Titan AE. The bug gets blown up.
Yeah,
and then he says like a little line. You see his teeth.
Like bullseye.
Bullseye. And goes off. Just like you guys were talking about.
It was just his teeth. It says his teeth. But yeah, it's the same with this. It's like the mouth like going down the drain.
There's an Italian mob boss, but that's later in the movie.
We'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great like caricatures in this movie that are like just they had a lot of freedom with the design just because I feel you can do anything with like a cell. You could make like a germ or a virus or something like that. You basically make like a disgusting like blob of a character and like just
you look at the people who live naturally inside Frank, and they look very like amoebas. They look they're see through and they have a membrane.
I do
and
love
then all the germs because all germs are different. So you get ones that look like big blobs, ones that look like elephants, spider legs.
One has like a mouth on its hand.
Yeah, one is two pupils inside one giant eye. It's pretty imaginative. Cool designs.
No, it's like they really got creative with the kind of different things that they could go with it because there's a lot of different viruses out there.
Oh yeah,
and you know, it makes you think. There's like a ton of this crap in your body right now, probably fighting off with like your immunity system as well. So it's like having that visualized. It's kind of like almost like a cautionary tale.
It makes me feel better knowing that whenever I feel like a slob or awful, that a little tiny William Shatner is giving me really bad information.
We can all blame William Shatner for our bad eating habits.
Which makes me feel a lot better about myself. It's not me, it's William Shatner's fault.
Yeah. William Shatner, you are ruining everyone. You are ruining America.
Yeah.
William Shatner.
It's gonna be a running joke. We're gonna run Patrick Warburton into the ground. We're gonna run.
Yeah. So where were we? We're discussing where the fact that new virus came in. Yeah, he can also like basically he's like lights things on fire, and like with his finger because he has
causes like a fever almost.
Yeah. And I want to discuss this because like when he turns the boat into like a fiery mess, which causes a sore throat, the fire it has like these little particles in it.
It looks like chromosomes or genomes.
That's a really
almost
good,
subatomic looking.
Yeah, that's a really good detail, especially because like when you're inside, it would look differently. You know, it's like we're going in deeper into this subspace, and we're just. What would it look like according to like these like tiny little? Because you look into like a microscope, and these things are just like blobs and stuff like that, but they have like certain details to them, like they have the hairs and and like these weird little like bubbles inside,
and they capture that with the character. They put that in the character.
What I really love about the designs of a lot of the cells is that like Osmosis Jones and everything, he is a blue, like there's a blue inside and a white outer layer
membrane.
Yeah, so I think that's a really clever thing to do because it makes him look hollow, like he's filled with this sort of bluish
goop
liquid. Yeah, like a goop. And I just like that look.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he also is very malleable, that he can stretch and squash. And
this has a lot of squash and stretch animation.
And that's beautiful animation throughout the movie, but particularly on Osmosis,
it leaves a lot of freedom to the animators to just kind of like make them do this crazy off the wall stretching animation.
Oh, it's great.
So
he gets called back to headquarters.
Yeah, he gets called by the commissioner, like who just is the buddy cop movie commissioner who's like Jones in my office.
Yeah, the big yelling angry cantankerous chief of the police.
It is the trope that basically is like, okay, the loud, angry commissioner who is like the main character grief because he does not respect the rules.
And the whole movie is really a buddy cop movie in the grand scheme of it.
Yeah.
But even though it's they're doing a lot of the stuff that you're familiar with, like the partner that doesn't like the partners that don't like each other, I'll have your badge, all that basic buddy cop movie from the 80s.
We've all seen it before in live action movies, but I don't feel like we've actually ever seen something like that in an animated movie, especially if it's the focus.
It's a unique spin.
And yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about it. It's very unique. I think that is more it's a compliment to it that it would take this idea and basically take it into this world where it's like, the white blood cells are cops, and it's just hilarious. It's
Yeah.
hilarious to see that, because it's like, we understand that is the joke, that it is the commissioner is giving him grief because they even mention, like, we have millions of white blood cells working together, and you're the only one who wants to work on his own. That's like, that's pretty fun.
Yeah,
It's clever. It's not a detriment that the fact that it has been done before, but it hasn't been done in this way.
And the thing that I really enjoy about it too is that it is a traditional buddy cop movie, which is usually very down to earth movie in the long run.
Yes,
but the movie does the buddy cop thing on a grand scale, like this huge chases and all this stuff, things that would never happen in live action, and it's a very grand, big movie to be a buddy cop movie, but at the same time, it takes place in a microscopic way. So it feels big, but it's actually, when you think about it, all microscopic.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty interesting about it too.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, how much thought they put into, like, all right, this is how this works, this is how that works. We're going to treat.
You certainly really need to know a lot about the body first off, and things that.
Well, it's enjoyable without knowing what the body, but if you studied and know about the body, that there's stuff in it for you that you're like, oh, I know a lot about the workings of the inner body. That joke applies to me, and I think it's really funny that that the writers or whoever got that and put it in the movie.
Yeah.
But someone who's just going in and doesn't know anything about the body, it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I love it.
So basically, this entire conversation with the commissioner is basically because Frank took a cold pill, because the mayor basically he doesn't want Frank to be sick. He just wants him to, like, do whatever the hell.
And there's an election coming up.
Yeah. Oh yes, there's an election coming up. Here's the thing. Okay. They get, like, a campaign video from one of his opponents.
It's his rival.
Yeah, his opponents. And it is Tom Kalanick, and he is voiced by Ron Howard.
And it's really great.
It's a really good. I mean, like, he only gets one scene in the entire movie, but it's really funny because it's like it's actual campaign, like, video. It's like, just look at these waters. I remember when these waters used to be clean and free of gunk, and I'm gonna help. It's one of the usual, like, promise sort of voting campaigns. It's pretty funny and very clever. And I know there was, like, a little moment in there where he's walking through, like, an alley, and there's, like, this really slovenly looking germ just sitting there, like, and he steps next to it, and then it kind of, like, moves its tentacle or something, and it just kind of, like, moves aside, like,
yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, all right. but he's, like, keeping it straight faced.
Yeah, it's really good, and it sets up that the mayor is like, we gotta, like, really I gotta keep the voters on my side. So he says, like, oh, we're gonna do this, and he doesn't want to cause any attention. So instead of going to the hospital and getting to be sick, he's like, well, let's just write it off. We'll make him take a cold pill.
Yeah, it's funny, just because it's like this is like a. I wouldn't say he's like a cell. I would say he's more like a thought process thing.
Well, no, the mayor. The mayor is a white blood. I mean, they're all white blood cells.
Yeah. Well, they're. I
don't know how a white blood cell gets a job as a mayor.
Yeah, I know. They're all cells of some sort, and I think it's funny that, like, the mayor right now is basically the cell that tells people, you have to just eat and be fat and just make yourself happy, whatever. And then there's the one running against him, who is the one where it's like, let's just eat healthy and let's get
more bran. Let's exercise.
Yes, more bran.
Yeah.
And he wants to get the city back to a more healthy state.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I will keep saying that they're just pretty clever moments.
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing that I just thought about. Like, Bill Murray's fat, right?
Oh, yeah, we had to talk about that.
Well, he's fat in the movie. So, like, you would think if he's fat, that means it's more room for more people to live. Like, if you were a mayor...
Oh, yeah, because they say, like, there was some ungodly number that we looked up
Yeah.
for this thing. It's like 7 gajillion. I don't even know. There was so many
It's a number that I
commas
can't.
in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of commas, a lot of zeros.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's so many people, and like it's like I'm trying to think, like if you wanted to slim down, if you were a mayor, and you're like, well, we got to slim down Frank and make him thin again. It's like, well, doesn't that mean that's going to be less space? It's going to be smaller for everybody.
So what you're basically saying is like this guy wants to kill off cells.
We're gonna deport a lot of people into the colon, like because it's a whole. Look how much like.
List. Oh my god. I didn't think about that.
No, but like if you're gonna get thin, it's gonna
So-
be less room for the white blood cells. They're really. I mean, this guy really.
This guy
ultimately is gonna crack down on all the illegals in his
Oh
body.
my god.
They're all gonna get flushed out the body.
This is getting more disturbing the more we think about
Yeah,
it. Just
this
like
is beginning of like, Hitler-esque
Man,
Nazi.
those damn white blood cells, man. I mean, it's it's like that's how the white blood cell keeps this down. I don't.
Don't even go there. But yeah, either way, that's one of the few. It's like I love when I watch a movie and I see that, where I'm just sort of like, hey, but I wonder if you went further with this, wouldn't that like,
Yeah.
wouldn't a lot of people die?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like the further you think about it, it's for what it is. I think it's pretty well how they handle everything.
Yeah.
And so he's supposed to. Jones is basically supposed to pick up this cold pill that Frank is now taken called Drixenol, and Jones goes to the stomach, which is like an airport.
Yeah,
And or like a train station or whatever it is.
for some reason there's Hare Krishna
Yeah.
in there, and
Right.
it's great. There's there's again more great sight gags.
Mm-hmm.
Great
There's a poster for SeaWorld, SEE,
world,
which
and
is
it's in
the eye.
Great stuff. And I forget there was another thing. Peace in the middle ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of the Middle East, it's the middle ear. And
Yeah.
you have like
Wasn't there another poster that was by there's another character named Leah who voiced by Brandy Norwood. And
she's the mayor's assistant.
she's
in
the mayor's
movie.
assistant. She's basically like she's the thought process. You know,
Her name
like,
is Leah Estrogen.
Oh, that's her full
That's
name.
her last name. I looked in the
Leah
credits.
Estrogen.
Leah Estrogen.
Oh, that's pretty fun. But yeah, she also has a poster on like her desk, which is like the Million Membrane March.
Million Membrane March.
Yeah, it's it's stuff like that, which makes you stop and look at it. And it's like, oh man, that's pretty clever, and it shows that the artists were having really a lot of fun with this. It's like, you know what? If we're gonna have puns in this, let's just pour as much as we can in
Yeah.
this. If you can think of something, like put it in. I think it'll be brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's like you know the incoming flights or
Yeah.
or whatever, and it's like beer, milk, more beer. There,
Booger.
yeah, a toenail or fingernail. Yeah,
a lot of sign gags.
yeah.
In this whole. I
yeah.
mean,
So
between
whatever comes into the stomach, that's basically like.
This is a great movie to freeze frame through.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
So Leah is there because she's there to see the cold pill in, and Jones sees her, and this is where we see Jones, like he can change himself and makes him look more handsome.
Gives himself
and
a
he's
dimple.
really trying to woo Leah, and it's like she's the love interest.
Yeah.
And also she's the most like thoughtful character in this movie. It's like she's trying to keep the mayor from doing something bad, but at the same time she can't do anything about it because he keeps like going over her notes,
Ignoring her. And
basically
making his
ignoring.
own decisions.
So they're both there to see Drix, and Drix and all, the big huge pill comes in.
And he's a CG character.
He's a CG character, and this came after Iron Giant.
Yeah.
So it's like they were doing that whole thing where they were they tracing over the animation, or was that just cell shaded?
I think it's just cell shaded.
Yeah, it's. I want your opinion of that. What do you think about that?
What, cell shading?
Well, I mean, like the cell shading animation for Drix. What do you think that worked? Do you think it was good?
I mean, for the time, it's a simple design when you really look at it. Yeah. Even his face is a very simple design.
Yeah.
And I don't think it needed to be CG animated. It really didn't.
No, it didn't really.
But
need me,
it makes him seem like he's not organic.
He's very mechanical
manufactured
looking.
in a plant or wherever they make cold pills.
Right.
And he seems very mechanical, very
Well, he's
not
like
organic.
Yeah, he's a college boy.
Yeah.
They even say like it's like I've graduated from.
I got my I was Phi Beta capsule.
Phi Beta capsule. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a dumb joke, but it's
punny.
Yeah, it's punny.
It's very punny.
It's punny, and yeah, I like the fact that he looks mechanical.
Yeah.
Like they treated him as some sort of like a robot, but at the same time he's still a little organic.
Yeah.
And he's the only working element that will help in this cold pill because the rest is like 98% cherry sugar flavor.
It's the rest of it is sugar.
Yeah. So it's like there's only one working element in the pill. It's just, just to help ease putting that in your body.
So now he has to be partnered with Drix.
With Drix.
Who's played by David Hyde Pierce.
David Hyde Pierce, yeah. And that's a good voice choice.
Yeah, it's a good balance. You get the brash Chris Rock character, and then you have this very dignified, very
hoity-toity,
by the book.
Yeah, by the book.
Hoity-toity wouldn't be so much. He's very just by the book. Very like, let's just get this done. Let's just do this thing. And he's very gung ho. Very like follow the rules.
Yeah, he has like his duty, and he's just gonna go to it. And the first duty is to help the sore throat, which is on fire. And when inflammation, yes, inflammation of the throat.
Yeah.
And he has like these capsules inside him that he just takes out and locks into his arm cannon and shoots them off, and they become like cooling. Like it's like a cooling gel.
It's a soothing.
It's a soothing. Yeah.
Which is another. It brings me to another question about that. Like throughout the movie, he uses these things, and you see, like even near the end of the movie, he takes out one of the capsules, and his cavity's mostly empty now. So
that's right.
What happens when he doesn't have anything else? I mean, he serves little to no purpose.
They get into that later on. Actually, they just basically say it's like he's
temporary.
He's temporary.
But I mean, like even though he stay like, well, I'm cutting ahead, but he stays in the body. And he does all this stuff, but like, what he has to have used all of his useful powers.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I guess we should watch the TV series and see how they deal with that.
That's something we'll have to discuss after we finish talking about the movie.
Well, I don't think that they really thought that element through. They just thought like, okay, this is a character. He's basically the buddy cop element of this, and he is the character that they pitted against this other character, and they have to get along somehow. And so while it doesn't make sense that he loses capsules the more he goes on and he becomes useless, but at the same time it's like Jones wants to work with him some more in the end of it. So I don't really know, since I think they can get away with that because it's the end of the movie and you don't really need to think about that anymore. And really, I mean, the stuff that Drix does is it's way more powerful than what a normal cold pill would actually do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the whole idea of it is that you're trying to make this character believe that he is more than just like a cold remedy, that he can actually do something else.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And while I don't really see a problem in that.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's like there is that pep talk where and I have to be honest, it's a little insensitive. It's like it's like Jones is trying to get Drix back because he's gonna be like flushed away. They're at the urine transport.
The bladder.
Yeah, the bladder. So.
The urine. What is that place in the body where urine is stored? The bladder. That's right. That's you just had a. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. Rub it in.
I was trying to say it in this world what it would be.
I thought you meant so they go to. I thought you were like so they go to the place where the urine is kept.
The dock. The urine dock.
Yeah.
It's like.
All sure.
You know what? Sure. Screw it. Forget it. It's like, well, anyway, Jones is trying to get Drix back to help him out because the virus is still around. I mean, we're jumping ahead here, but then he gives like this little pep talk where he says like, I knew a cold pill that cured cancer once, and I think you could do the same in helping me. And like,
He just believed in himself.
yeah. It's a pretty insensitive line, but at the same time, it's like
It's a very extreme line. But
it is pretty extreme. But he comes back and says like, it's like, did you really know a cold pill that cured cancer? It's like, no, but it's good pep talk, right? And then they
they join together.
And
And the thing is, now that I'm thinking about the whole movie,
mm-hmm.
we just watched it again.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like the middle of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
I lose track of what goes on in the middle of the movie. Like I try to remember. Oh yeah, there's the scene in the mouth, and they have the
Well,
meat.
the thing is like in the middle of the movie, there's a lot of cutaways to the live action scenes.
You cut to the villains. You cut to the good guys. You cut to the mayor. You cut to the live action.
Yeah.
And then the live action goes on very long.
There's
and
a lot of stuff going on.
It is a lot.
Right.
In the middle especially right in the middle of the movie.
It's a lot of great ideas, and the story itself kind of works in the sense that it's a cop movie, and the things that happen in a cop movie, it's like they need to interrogate someone, or they need to go to a club which helms tons of viruses, and that's where the gang is hiding out.
And it's a new club that just opened. It's the most disgusting.
This scene you couldn't watch.
I couldn't watch. I actually said, "Oh, can we skip this?" And they're like, "No." And I took a pillow and I had to turn away and I had to look because it's so disgusting. Because you cut to this throbbing, nasty. Oh.
Well, yeah, no, I know this is a really disgusting scene because they had in the live action scene they actually built this larger version of an up close pimple.
Oh, and they burst it.
And it explodes. And this is one of the most disgusting scenes in the movie, and I personally don't like it myself just because okay, Bill Murray is talking to Molly Shannon, who is the teacher of his daughter. And apparently there was this thing before where Bill Murray and his daughter, Frank, I should say Frank and his daughter were at a science fair that the school held. And this is when the teacher was in good standing with Frank. And before he talks to the teacher, he goes to another student who is doing this oyster
cleaning,
oyster cleaning. Yeah, basically, there's polluted oysters, and he, if his hypothesis is correct, then
the tide's coming in and out.
We'll clean the oysters. And Bill Murray, honestly, I don't even think a normal human being would do this. Is say like, how much you want for that oyster, and he just eats it right there. Really?
And it's really like, yeah, you got to check your math.
Well, okay, in this part, that's basically like a flashback portion because wow, we're gonna jump back and forth here. Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's very confusing in the middle of the movie because there's so much to talk about and you forget what happens when.
Yeah, because Jones is talking to Drix about what his first flub was. Because when he was working he
had a record.
Yeah, he had a record, and so the oyster comes into the stomach. And it's making Bill Murray sick because only Jones can see that there was like this ugly looking virus thing that was emerging from it. So, he spotted it and he went over to this emergency puke button.
Yeah.
which it says out in the open.
Yeah. And then Frank, because of it, pukes all over the teacher and it makes her a laughing stock. It makes it doesn't make his daughter feel any better.
And this basically ruined the teacher's life.
Well, it just made her
for
embarrassed.
Being thrown up, but I mean, it almost seemed like her reputation was ruined because of this. Because there's like a lot of.
But he lost his job at the pea soup
at the
factory.
Pea soup factory,
and he got a 90% pay cut.
To work at the
zoo because his friend
Uncle Bob, who is played by that's not even my notes, Chris Elliott, who is also a very disgusting looking.
He looks
human
like a disgusting stoner.
Yeah, but yeah, that's.
But yeah, so now that's why Frank is in this state is because he lost his job at the pea soup factory. He's not making
And
as
that's
much
good
money.
backstory. I mean, it's fine backstory to keep the story moving along. I just feel like it falls flat every time we cut back to those elements.
Yeah, because I think honestly at this point, if we're going to talk about this movie, it's really just saying like, look, the animation sequences are really great.
Yeah.
Imaginative, really well animated, great design. Everything about it is great.
Yeah.
Whenever they cut to outside to Frank and his daughter, even the acting of the characters is really hackneyed.
Yeah.
And we were like, what's going on? And we looked into it.
Yeah,
and
because you mentioned to me something. I was like, isn't this movie directed by the Farrelly brothers? And I was thinking to myself, like, no, it was directed by Tom Cito and I forget the other director.
I have the name here. Hold on.
Yeah, but then we find out when we looked it up is that the animation portions were directed by two different people, and the live action portions were directed by the Farrelly brothers. And
the animation stuff happened first.
Did it?
They
yeah.
started. They had the movie already written, and then they, I guess, yeah, that's what we read that they had that Tom Cito and
it almost, I don't know. Maybe there's like a different kind of process that goes through that, but
Pia Kroon is his name, the co-director.
Oh yes, Pia Kroon. But yeah, I almost feel like, is there like a different process to go through when it comes to live action directing? Because maybe, well, I know that directing animation is very different from directing live action, but couldn't there have been some sort of understanding between the two elements that it could have worked? I mean, it could have like almost been unified.
It feels very disjointed.
It does.
It feels like they tried to stick the two together.
And
like, it's like sticking two puzzle pieces together that they don't
especially
know if
by the fact that it feels like it was written by two different people.
the writing in the animation portions are great.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, also you have the ability to see the visual thing.
Yeah, and it's like the whole thing with Molly Shannon says like my sons Ralph and Chuck were the laughing stocks of the.
Oh,
it's
like, I don't know. It just it seemed. It seemed hokey.
Yeah.
Even and Bill. I mean, and
but
it's
a
shame.
But I feel like it's probably because I feel like it's the actors' portrayal of these characters were just very like phoned in.
Like probably the best actor of the live action was the daughter.
Yeah.
She did a pretty good job. She was very genuine.
She did pretty good.
Molly Shannon was
She's very genuine.
Yeah, Molly Shannon was a little overdone, and Bill Murray.
Oh, Molly Shannon was just like. She was overdoing it.
She was overdoing it, and
there was like a whole part where she was just like laughing, like ha 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 ha. I got the giggles. It was like her laugh took over a minute.
Yeah, and it's weird to say that the worst thing in this movie, which is like surprising, the worst thing in this movie is Bill Murray.
And I hate saying that because I love Bill Murray as an actor. He's really good at doing what he does. You know, and I won't even say I can't even say that he was bad in Garfield. The movie.
Yeah.
I actually. He did a good job. Even though he didn't want to do it, he did a good job with it.
Yeah.
With this, it really just feels like I don't know if he really understood what was going on.
It didn't help that the writing didn't seem up to par. It was probably the combination of the writing, the way it was handled, and the way the acting and the directing was handled. And then I don't know if he was completely into it, because it seems like he wasn't.
Well, from what I know, from what I hear, is that Bill Murray is like he really is very picky about his roles, and a lot of the things that he gets into that he doesn't really want to do is more that he's roped into doing it, and because like Ghostbusters 2, I know for a fact that he just did not want to do any of it. You know, and it's like with Ghostbusters 1, it's like he was the only one that didn't get slime. Oh, well, he got slime, but he didn't want to get like covered in marshmallow stuff. Oh wait, that is the second one. The second one, yes, he did not want to get covered in the marshmallow goop because he just didn't want to do it, and he did not want to wear the outfit. And it's really weird. He's a very eccentric.
Well, some people are very selective in terms of like, well, I don't want to like either. Like Jim Carrey's like the type
and
of
he's
person
very
who doesn't want to play
he's
the
very
same role
funny
twice.
in everything he is.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like there are some things where he's just like, I just need to do this because of a paycheck.
He's phoning it in.
Yeah.
Which seems like in this movie he's phoning it in, and then even some of the scenes he either overdoes it or like he didn't want to do a second take. It just seemed like that. I don't know if that's true on the production because I wasn't there, but
Yeah.
it comes off in the movie that's something. I mean, because you see this wonderful, great animated sequences, great characters, great personalities. Then you see when you cut to live action, like, oh,
every time they come on, I'm like, just move it along. I kind of know. Well, it's like because I've seen this before.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like I'm done with these scenes. I just like I know what happens. I just want to keep seeing.
It's sad that those scenes are grosser and more disgusting.
Yeah.
Than the stuff where you see things blow up and like.
There's pretty disgusting things in it, but it's not as disgusting when you see it animated because. I don't know. Maybe it's
liberties taken. I don't know.
No. Maybe it's because. Well, yeah. Maybe there's some liberties taken.
Because you don't see you see like.
But at the same time, it's like there's no reality element to it.
Right.
It's not like. This is something that I would see if I was throwing up. I don't want to see that. This is something that I really just do not want to do in my life. It's
like when he eats that egg in the beginning of the movie, like the. Inside the mouth, with it between the teeth and sloshing around and all that stuff.
That's pretty disgusting.
It's disgusting,
but it's also
the zoom that zoom into the mouth. We see him chewing the egg with his mouth open. That is to me is more disgusting than seeing the animated goop that's in his mouth, or like with the. I don't know. It just looks.
Yeah, it doesn't really. And there's a scene where he has like an ingrown toenail, and they just did something to that.
Obvious prosthetic. It's I mean
it's like it's gross out humor basically put in and while it's I feel it's I want to ask you, do you feel it's necessary? Do you think it was necessary to have these
gross out moments
compared to the inside of him, which is already gross?
Because it's like it's interesting to see how the inside affects the outside, or how the outside affects the inside.
Yeah, because when I'm watching this movie, it's like I feel I really do feel bad about myself. I feel like I should eat healthier.
Yeah,
because of this.
Like we noticed before, there's going through the movie, Thrax infects the body, and he goes into wherever. And it's a weird scene because there's a part of I forget the part of the body where it regulates the temperature of the body.
Yes. Oh, the hypothalamus.
Hypothalamus. Thank you. You remembered. I'm not.
Hypothalamus. What it was?
I went to art school. I don't know anything about the body.
Hypothalamus.
So he goes in, and first of all, it is the place where the temperature's regulated.
They take the temperature,
and he goes and
there's
takes
some
it.
science. It's where scientists are to basically. They're kind of like the weather people.
Yeah, they're
I
like
guess.
It's 98.8 or 98.6, and that's the normal temperature.
That's the normal temperature.
And Thrax, after doing all this stuff, comes in and takes that crucial element in that strand, and which makes his temperature rise to be become a deadly.
It's basically a part of his DNA that Thrax needs to take out in order to kill him.
Yeah. And he does it, and and even during that scene, it gets hotter and hotter. The colors get redder and redder. And first of all, we're in Southern California. It's a million degrees. It's hot enough in this room that we watch this movie.
Watching that entire thing is like I felt boiling.
Yeah, I felt hot. There was a fan blowing on us the whole time.
But it wasn't helping. It's like I kept on remembering how hot it was outside now.
But in that scene, which is really funny, it made me. It made us crack up because I never noticed it before.
Oh yeah, I pointed that out.
They check out the
thermometers.
They have thermometers, and they pull them out of this this thing.
They
It's
look
just-
like buttholes.
they're buttholes, pretty
Yes.
much. And so Thrax comes in and kills the one guy, and when
Yes.
he's like, "What happened to the other guy?" And you see because the
There's a-
Leah comes in looking to see what's happening up in the hypothalamus, and she goes up and you see the guy.
There's a guy slumped over the main console, and he has like a bunch of
He's like
thermometers
5
stuffed up
with his ass.
I pointed that out.
I never noticed that.
I spotted that because it was like the only other character in that room, and then you was like, "No, wait, what? Are you serious?" And I was like, "Okay, rewind that." And we rewinded it, and we looked at it, paused it, and it's like, "Yep, there he
But the
is
funny-
with
the
like
funny-
a bunch of thermometers stuck up his
sadly,
butt."
that guy probably got it the best out of all the people who got in Thrax's way, because usually Thrax killed him.
Yeah,
I mean, it was humiliating, but that guy has
that's
five thermometers. And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, this movie was originally supposed to be PG-13,
Yeah,
but they edited a lot of stuff
they
down
did.
to make it clean.
that's
and
probably one of the things that they didn't even
overlooked
notice.
that.
Yeah,
The thermometers up the ass.
yeah.
Like, oh my god! But it was amazing
You know,
because it's a very tense moment.
Yeah, I almost am curious I'm almost curious to see like how this movie would have turned out if it was PG-13, because I feel like there could have been a lot of other elements to it, but it still didn't feel too adult. You know, it's like it felt like Ren and Stimpy type of gross out humor, you know, where
Yeah.
it's just like
Some of it was.
some
yeah.
of it was, but it also had a sophistication where it's like, oh, I understand what they're referencing.
Yeah.
Like the whole uvula. It's like the uvula. It's the thing, little
The
dangly thing
that's
down
in
there.
boxer shorts.
And then he takes
Yeah.
and then he says, no, in his throat.
I knew that.
I knew that. Yeah.
But there was also great. Like, I never noticed it because when I first saw, it was 2001 when this movie came out. Yeah, I was only 12 or 13 at the time.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
was a
weird
bit
now
older.
that I'm older, because it's been about 5 years or 6 years since I've seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it again, there's stuff that you go up and there's a board meeting going on with the mayor.
Oh yes, the
and
board meeting.
and there's a bunch of people up there.
Yeah.
And
There's memory. There, okay, with Leah, who's thought. She
she's-
said thought processes.
she's
or
brains.
Brains. Yeah,
Yeah.
she says brains. And there's a guy there who's labeled memory, and he's putting Post-it notes on himself.
Reminder Post-it notes on him.
And then there's guilt, and it's like
It's a
priest.
preacher,
It's
a
a preacher.
priest.
Yeah.
with the little collar, and
he's like
holding a cross and everything.
And then there's emotion, and he has like
Box of tissues.
box of tissues.
He looks
in
like he's
front
about
of him.
ready to cry.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That
was funny, and I never noticed that.
noticed that myself.
Until it's just like a lot of things, like now that I'm watching it and I'm older, and I'm a responsible adult.
Yeah.
Now I'm watching it and I'm enjoying the movie now for a completely different reason. Because there's stuff like I never would have gotten as a kid. I would have never gotten Peace in the Middle Ear or Million Membrane
That's
March.
true.
I
Yeah.
never would have gotten
No.
those references. But now that I'm older, I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
Because that's appealing to the child and the adult in the audience that watches this movie.
Yeah, this is honestly, it's like, well, you were saying that this movie was given a lower rating to appease the a wider audience. And did you read that was after the fact?
They had to edit stuff out and down
Yeah.
and change dialogue in order for it to
Okay.
be a lighter rating.
Right, and I want to know if that was done behind everyone's back, or if that was just like a last minute decision where it's like, okay, we need to cut these.
They probably
things
had
out.
to compromise because there's scenes where like they animate.
So that does make me curious, like as to what was actually cut
Yeah.
out, because the deleted scenes were not really all that telling of anything. They were just kind of rearranging certain scenes that were already in the movie.
And even late in the game, I mean, you see it. There's scenes in the movie where if a character's talking, like if Osmosis Jones is delivering a line, and
That's true.
and the lip sync doesn't sync up, it's like, oh well, that we can't get away with that joke.
reminds
and they
me
didn't
of
have time to animate
Yeah,
it, so they have to just dub over it.
It's kind of like a Simpsons episode where it's like they're really late in delivery and they need to change this line. They just
ADR over it.
Yeah, they ADR over it. And yeah, there's a couple scenes like that. So
Yeah.
you're kind of curious as to what they were actually going to say.
And we looked it up. Apparently, they didn't get live action directors for the live action sequences until after animation was already underway, the animation production of the movie.
Yeah.
And then they got the Farrelly brothers, and then I
Wait,
guess they had a stipulation in their contract where they got the directing credit as the
Yeah, they
directors
were
of the movie, even though
right.
they only directed the live action, not the animation.
Yeah,
Which was I don't know.
that's pretty scummy, but
I don't
Hollywood.
know. It's Hollywood.
But I think because the Farrelly brothers were pretty well known at the time anyway for their movies, I think it was more for name recognition, if anything.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's Hollywood, you know.
Hollywood,
But yeah, I want to give the animators and the directors of this movie a lot of props because it's just
It's
a
their
lot
work
of,
that holds up the movie.
yeah, there's a lot of creativity to it, and that's really is the saving grace of the entire movie because everything else is just kind of like I feel like it in a way it kind of ruins the movie, but it really shouldn't. I mean, the thing about it is that unfortunately you have to kind of power through the live action portions in order to get to what the juicy parts, which are really inside the body. But at the same time, the live action elements are kind of necessary. I would say some scenes are more necessary than others, but there are some scenes that could be either handled differently or just cut out completely to in favor of the story that is within the rest of the body animation.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what to think. Like, if they... Well, I mean, obviously someone wrote the screenplay of this movie to have it be that there's this guy who's a slob and he has he has his daughter and he's a widow and he gets sick. But
I don't even want to see those scenes animated, like the live action scenes. I
don't mean that
no,
have them be animated.
No. Well, I thought about this for a while. It's like, would I have liked it better if the human elements of this were animated? And I think to myself, like, no, but they could have been handled a bit more carefully.
I don't know if it could have been the writing, it could have been the directing.
I don't know. It could have been anything. It's all speculation. But for the most part, it's like it is what it is. I really don't think it ruins the movie too much, especially if you watch it and just power through these sort of scenes. I honestly think they are necessary.
They
are
necessary. But I remember, and now we're gonna go just briefly into they did a spin-off television series where it's the same characters. It's Osmosis Jones and Drix
Ozzy and Drix.
Ozzy and Drix,
That's what it
which
was
lasted
called.
for a few years on WB. And in that show, it's the same. I think it's still called Frank. But
no, it's someone else. It's like another city. I don't remember who,
city,
but it's a little kid.
But it's a boy. It's
it's a boy in like a prepubescent boy, sort of.
Which I thought would have been, I mean, I don't know if they had to. If they
Do you
could
really
write the
think
movie
that would have been like a better element to this?
I don't know. I mean,
they had like a younger.
It makes the situation. I mean, in the movie, it's more dire.
I think it would honestly be like it's a different situation. It's like when you're growing up young as a teenager, there's different elements to the inside of the body, and that's Inside Out, for instance.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a different kind of element to that. Where it's like a young girl growing up and there's things that you don't really understand that are happening around you. And that is a lot different than, say, like, serious health issues. I mean, like, like these are things that really adults should be thinking about because it really is hurting your body. And I like the fact that this is kind of making fun of that.
Yeah.
And also it's like, it really does help, like someone like me, it's like it really does help me think that maybe I should be looking after my health a little bit better.
More carrots
yes, exactly.
But I guess.
But then again, like Frank is an extreme example of this, in which he will basically wake up and eat the first circus peanut in front of him. That's like that. I think that is like. I don't know any kind of human being that does this. There probably are some out there, but normal people don't really do that. At least I would like to hope.
Yeah, well, I know people exactly like Frank. I've known people who are exactly just slobs. You go to their house and there's a smell. And food is out. All that stuff. It's really bad.
Yeah.
But I think for the sake of this movie, it is a more dire situation to have him. His body has gone to pot. His immune system is really bad.
Yeah.
And now there's a virus coming in, and it's going to affect his and eventually his daughter's life.
Because of his his weak body.
Right.
It's easier for this virus to take over.
If it was a child, I don't know. I mean, but there is a weird. You could tell that there is a weird disconnect between the writing and the direction of the live action compared to the animation. Where if the live action, if they stepped up their game a bit to be on par, at least with the writing to be on par, because I don't know, maybe the writing. Because Bill Murray probably improvs, but like Chris Rock did a lot of looks like he did a lot in this movie.
He probably did.
He did. I mean, there's even a flub in the movie where he accidentally calls.
I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
There was a scene, and I noticed this when the movie first came out, and I was like, wait a minute, why did he say two names? He comes into an office and he notices Leah there, and Chris Rock's line basically he says, "Brandy, I'm in Leah. What are you doing here?" And we looked this up, and I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed this, because apparently it was the best line that like he went through like a lot of different
they kept
takes
it in
because
it was a pleasing take.
It was a pleasing take, but it was also hilarious.
Yeah.
Because let's just keep this in. That's funny.
Because out of context, it probably sounds like he probably knows a lot of girls. He goes, Brandy, I mean, Leah. Oops.
Well, that kind of ruins the romance element of it.
It does, but...
But yeah, to me that was funny because it like went over so many people's heads. But me, it's like, I swear I heard that wrong. I was like... it's just really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't necessary either.
But you could tell there's a more in the writing, whether it be the delivery of the actors in the booth, or I don't know, maybe just the fact that it's that part of the movie, the animation is balanced out or built up by visual gags and visual stuff that makes it better. But there is a disconnect. Even the punny gags are better, they're delivered better, or they're represented better than the live action stuff, because I think it's weird, the actors, like we said, kind of are phoning it in, and there's not a genuine,
it just feels
it doesn't
like
feel genuine.
No, it doesn't.
Like Bill Murray's performance doesn't feel genuine.
I don't want to discredit them, because I feel like I don't want to say anything bad about the actors, because they are good actors. It's just
they are.
But sadly, I guess whatever takes that they had for this, and maybe they had like very little time to do everything. It just felt very rushed, very not very well thought. They got takes that just weren't all that well and just went with it.
Yeah.
And
whatever. But I mean, either way, I mean, as a whole. I think the movie is pretty enjoyable.
Yeah,
I think it's an enjoyable movie. It's fun.
Yeah.
From an animation and visual standpoint, it's great.
I love seeing it just because how squishy all the characters are. And I love that sort of squash and stretch sort of...
Like, I love it when it happens 2 or 3 times in the movie where Osmosis Jones, he's literally changing how he looks. He makes himself look like a germ.
Yeah.
He makes himself look like...
And they go into the club, which is the Zit. And I want to talk to you about Kid Rock in this movie.
Or Kidney Rock.
Kidney Rock, yeah.
In this movie.
And I don't really think it doesn't it's not a problem. It doesn't hurt the movie. I think, honestly, it was actually a pretty fun performance, especially from the animation standpoint of it, because like that character is really funny, the way that he moves and everything.
Whoever animated him did it really well.
Yeah, it was really fun, and I didn't have a problem with the song. The soundtrack in this is very...
it feels like a live-action movie.
Yeah, it's very live-action
where they plug in a lot of songs. Like, there's even a song where you literally will start hearing a song for maybe about 3 or 4 seconds, and then that's the end. And then you cut away, and you don't hear the song anymore.
It's like they probably had contracts with certain songs, and they said, like, let's fit them in somewhere. But I think it's like it helps sell the mood, honestly, to what kind of movie it is. It's very urban. It's very just like... city oriented, just I don't know. I really liked it.
There's like a new. It's weird because you look at the end credits and you feel like there would be more, but there is a lot of songs in that movie.
Yeah, they even credit like what is it, My Name Is, which it only has written by.
Yeah,
and that's like it's that one thing where it's like, my name is what? My name is what? My
Yeah.
name's Osmosis Jones, and that was the credit
And
for that.
even there's even credit for the song Fever.
Or
Where-
Fire.
or Fire.
Fire.
Where
Thrax says, like, fire.
He just that's all he does.
That's
he just
all
says
he
fire
does.
once. And like for a brief
But
moment, Bill Murray's singing "Alone Again" naturally in the car,
Oh, yeah.
and he's crying because I guess
Yeah.
he's thinking about his wife.
But
or
I mean,
his-
like, these are all, like, normal credit things. I just thought it was funny. It was like, even those little moments, it's like, well, we got to credit it. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
it can't just be a passing thing. It's.
But there's a lot of montage moments where they'll have a song playing over it, and it's not like I don't know why, but in a movie today, people are now used to it, or they know about it, and they're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Like I know, like in
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph, they play that one song during that montage, and you're like, that song that doesn't fit into this movie for some
No.
reason. But I guess in this movie, because it's handled differently, you can accept that they're playing a lot of pop,
Yeah.
rap,
hip hop
music, which is fine. I personally
I
don't have a
honestly
problem
think
with
it helps the mood, and it also helps sell the characters and the setting around it, because it's pretty much the fun of it. You know, this characterization of the inside of a body, which
Yeah.
is, you know, this urban city, and I tip my hat for this
Yeah.
idea, because it's just funny,
And it's funny because like I've heard people compare it to compare Inside Out to this movie.
Yeah.
But it's really like we
Nah,
said before, it's
it's-
comparing apples to oranges, where like
Yeah.
it is imaginative how they treat like, oh, here's the cerebral cortex. And here's this and
Inside
that.
Out has a very different way of portraying how the mind works.
Yeah.
And really, it is just the mind. You know, it's like, it doesn't really go into the whole aspect of the body.
The stomach
you know?
and how the body works.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't characterize, you know, the heart or the stomach or the lungs.
It's
or
a more
anything. It's like-
psychological representation of how you feel, like, you know, abstract thought or fear or
and
anger.
while it does have elements of the mind in it, it doesn't really it doesn't focus on it too much. It just kind of pokes fun at it. You know, it's like there is a theater that they go to for it's like a movie theater that they go to for dreams and the subconscious. And Thrax goes in there, and he's like surrounded in all these memories and everything. And he
Horrible
comes out,
dreams.
I was like, this guy was sick before I got here. Yeah. So yeah, there's a very different characterization between the two,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's a very fair comparison.
Right, it isn't, because you can't really. I mean, all you can really compare it to is like, oh, there's parts that take place inside the head, and it's inside of a person's body, and you get that inside-outside, where you cut outside, you cut inside.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's really, you know, it's really a completely different feel, different monster in it. You know?
Yeah.
It's a different monster.
There's monsters everywhere.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. So
I can't.
all
think
in
of-
all, it's like I feel like we do agree that this movie is really good. I mean, story wise, it's very well put
it's
together.
underrated. There are moments where you're like, yeah, the live action is the weakest part of the movie. Like, I would give this movie a pretty solid, like, I would be like, oh yeah, go see this movie.
Yeah.
I would give it even a better ranking in my, or like a better recommendation if it wasn't for the fact that the live action really, it feels like the live action feels like a leash on a really playful dog that you just want to see play out in a yard.
I really kind of wish it was handled differently, just because I think it does kind of, it hurts the movie a little bit, especially when people come to go see it, like who aren't really, you know, that who've just gotten into it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that can be done about that, of course, but at the same time, it's like, I would recommend this movie because of the fact that it's just very well worked out. How it's the concept of it is so well done that I would just recommend it to see those portions alone.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to see it for the story, I just think it's funny just seeing all these like little elements of the body that just kind of like come out of a.
I mean, we were giggling the whole time watching this movie because we would either hear something that someone would say,
yeah.
or see a sign, or see a visual gag in the background, or something going on, and you're like, "What is that?" And you have to either stop or pause or rewind.
They
and
were
check
really
it out.
having fun with it. It's just like
I say what would be really fun is watch the movie if you've never seen it or haven't seen it in a really long time.
skip the pimple part.
Oh, skip that. Definitely.
Yeah, or at least when you know it's coming,
Just turn away.
Yeah, just turn away.
Turn the volume down. But I
turn
would
the
say,
volume down. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I can still hear it.
Yeah, the sounds and everything. But I'd say if you haven't seen it in a long time, watch the movie again all the way through, and then if you have some free time after, just go back and just freeze frame throughout that movie.
Yeah.
Just look at stuff in the background, look
Yeah.
at characters in the background, look
Yeah,
at
because I always like doing that with Simpsons episodes. It's like now
Yeah.
that they're on DVD, it's easier to do. But I mean, back then it was harder to do.
Right.
I mean, you would have to rewatch the episode again. And Mystery Science Theater as well. Every time I watch a Mystery Science Theater episode, there's always something new that I missed because there's so much stuff happening.
yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you can watch it again.
It's worth multiple watches.
It is
I'd
worth
say.
it. At least to me.
Yeah.
So, that's our thoughts on Osmosis Jones.
Because you know what,
and we're not being controlled by William Shatner saying this.
well,
But
not so much because we had Five Guys for lunch.
Oh my God, yes.
And now, it's been a few hours.
Maybe
but
that is why we have a good review of this, because now that we have Five Guys in our system, that William Shatner in our brain is
in control. Or
Yeah.
whatever. But I really after eating that burger, and now that we're sitting here and we've been here for a few hours,
and
now,
we've been watching this movie about a
movie.
disgusting man
Oh,
eating.
But okay, I was gonna say I'm hungry again. Now the fact that you reminded me about that,
No, we're not.
I'm not hungry anymore.
No, we're not.
I'm gonna go home and eat a salad with no dressing
Want some carrots and take a hike.
and take a hike in this
In this
100-degree weather.
Oh God, yeah. Let's do it.
Oh my God. But that it's weird because even when we talked about Home on the Range, I will say that with this movie is that I kind of in the middle of the movie there's so much going on that it's like, okay, what happens first? They go to the pimple. No, wait, no, they go to the nose. But then you see Thrax talking to the mob boss.
It can be a little discombobulating, but I mean, all of those different elements of the story that happen are great ideas.
Yeah,
and in sequence, yeah, it's
because I noticed we just gave up on telling the story. We were just like, well, then Drix goes here, and we're like, you know what? Let's just talk about the movie.
Well, the thing about it is that if I really, really want to recommend this movie, I would recommend people to just see it.
Just check it out
because of the amount of things that are in this movie that are funny. Like the membrane of the nose is the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, it's made of pure cartilage.
And oh God, and the mafia member inside the pit,
armpit,
which is
like a
steaming,
spa.
like it's spa, and yeah, oh God, and there's a place in the toe that's it's like
a hideout.
There's a hideout, and it's all dry and cracked. That's funny.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know. I would really recommend people to see this just because it makes something creative.
Yeah.
It makes something that is this has not really been thought of before. And I really, I commend the artists and the writers and the, whoever was in charge of this stuff. Just thank you for actually coming up with these ideas.
Yeah.
Because it's funny to look at, and
that's
really
that
the
we've
enjoyment.
Never seen before.
Yeah, and that's the enjoyment of it, is capturing all these little elements that make it into this world that they created. So yes, that was Osmosis Jones.
Yay!
Hey, and we give it a glowing review, we give it half a review because I guess yeah, the live action stuff is...
The live action is watch it for the animation, don't watch it for the live action.
And I'm glad I got this off my chest too, because I'd been thinking about this damn movie for months now.
Tell your story about this movie.
Okay, all right. So Mike and I were driving, I guess home from lunch or something like that. And
yeah, we were dropping off a piece for an art show.
We were dropping off something, and as we were driving back, I can't remember what you said to start the conversation.
It was the dangling in the boxer shorts bit.
Yeah. Okay. So and it didn't hit me until a little bit after you said that. Is like you referenced that. It's a little.
Then you laughed. You stopped.
I laughed, and then I stopped, and then I said, "Damn it!"
And I'm like, "What the hell's the matter?"
And it's like I every single day for the past couple weeks before that, there has always been either a reference or the conversation would lead to Osmosis Jones. And every day it was like there was a little bit.
Your coworkers would mention it.
Yes,
something would remind you of it.
Something would remind me of it, and then I would all of a sudden discuss it. And I would tell people, it's like, this really isn't a bad movie.
Months ago.
I know. And it's like I want to tell people, it's like, you know what? When I look back on it, it's not really that bad of a movie. And it's like every day that has been happening. And I feel like people got sick of me for that.
I remember that moment because I was in the car, and I turned to you, laugh, you stop, and then the realization hits you, not again, and you're like, damn it, and you like smack the
smacked the wheel
because you're like, damn it, why did you have to remind me of Osmosis Jones?
I almost like went through the day without any mention of it, and then all of a sudden you mention it, and I was like, oh. There goes it just continued on from then.
And now hopefully
and now hopefully I can just like let this go, and now that I have talked about it, I have put my thoughts on it, it can just, move on, and we can do something else like David and the Magic Pearl. I don't know. It's
which reminds me, what was next week's movie?
Next week's movie we haven't really discussed, actually.
Oh yeah.
So I am actually, because we would like to get some more listeners to write into the show, I am thinking that next week's episode should be Listener's Choice. So
That's not a bad idea.
No, it's not. It's a terrible idea.
Awful.
But it's actually a very terrible idea, because you, the listener, will get to decide amongst a list that I will post up after this podcast that you can look up, and we will decide, or the listeners will decide on what to unleash on us.
What we'll do is, if we get multiple people sending something in, I guess what we can do is we'll put them on a list, assign them a number, go to a random number generator, and pick out of those couple movies that people choose.
Yeah. So I am allowing people to please email in their choices for what the next movie we should discuss. And I know in your minds, you're thinking of all the horrible, horrible things that you could probably unleash on us.
They've been very complimentary towards Home on the Range and Osmosis Jones.
I think
it's about time we give them a movie that's really awful.
And I'm just expecting it right now. I'm honestly, as I'm thinking about it, I'm like,
what are you saying?
What have I done? What have I done? So, yes, please write in to awd300@gmail.com and write in your recommendations and the movie that gets either the most votes, or we will probably, if there's not enough votes
pick
for one thing,
of them out of a hat.
I will pick at random what people, the listeners, want us to review. Okay, so awd300@gmail.com, and I will also put that in the description below, and feel free to email me whatever garbage you want us to talk about. And
or maybe something good if you really
if you really want to be nice to us, yes, that's I would, anything that you would like us to talk about, I should say. I don't want to implant in your head that it should be terrible. Just please, whatever you would like to hear about, email it to us, and we will decide by next week what that will be.
Yeah. And if you have any questions about how we feel about animation or in general, just,
please,
we'll answer them on the show.
Yeah, we will answer this. Actually, one question that has come to us.
Yes.
Well, it's not so much a question, but it was a reminder to us from the last episode, Home on the Range, that we did not discuss the Patrick Warburton horse.
Horsewhip.
Horsewhip. Yeah. So.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, we forgot, because you know what? I think.
Hello, B.
Hello, B.
Couldn't we? Okay,
This is gonna be hard because like every time we're gonna see an animated movie between like 2000 and 2012,
there's gonna be a Patrick Warburton.
there's gonna be a
thing.
Patrick Warburton somewhere in there.
Yeah,
and it's
somewhere. Yeah.
I think that should be now a running thing. It's like we have to discuss the Patrick Warburton character.
Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks for catching that. I forgot your name on Twitter. I'm deeply apologize. I don't have it in front of me.
We had all the information written down, and then somehow
it got lost. It got lost. Yes, please. If you would like to follow us on Twitter, Mike, what is your
mine
Twitter?
is at a guy who draws.
A guy who draws.
A very horrible.
No,
Twitter
it's just at a guy who draws.
At a guy who draws.
You're fine. At least you're not like that person with the camera. So, there's a lot of that guy, that girl, that thing.
I am
that
a
thing
guy.
you do.
I am not the guy or that supposed guy you should be keeping your eye on. I'm just a guy.
Yes.
Nothing really
I'm
special.
a person.
No one special. Nothing special about
Okay.
me.
So, Mike, you're at a guy who draws, and myself, I am at AWD Twit, TWIT AWD TWIT on Twit. So
I just heard twit
Twit,
TWIWD.
But did I just pop my T's and
I don't know. I just heard a lot of letters,
Yeah.
a lot of T's and W's.
AWD Twit? That is my Twitter account.
Okay.
And please write into the show if you would like us to discuss anything about animation.
If you have any questions?
Any questions about what we think about certain things, like and we'll discuss it and read your letter on the show, and that would be fantastic.
It would be fun.
It would be hilarious. All of these things
And more.
Yes. So again, that email is awd300@gmail.com. This is Animated Anarchy. I am Andrew.
And I'm Mike.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week.
See you around. Oh, Grimace.
I know.
I don't remember what he sounds like.
Why don't they bring back Grimace?
Because he's a fucking walking purple hemorrhoid.
He's a boobah.
Do you really want?
Have you ever seen the boobahs?
No.
They were the thing that came after the Teletubbies, and they basically
remember those.
They basically look like scrotums with eyes. So
Yeah. Hold on one second. I gotta. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, he picks it up really well. I'm so sorry. It was funny if I did that. People would think they smell something.
right,
You just go.
oysters.
Oh, shit.